Oh, sure. Yeah, that's my name. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I've had a career for coming up 40 years in animation, first in features and then television, and now currently at Walt Disney Imagineering, helping them design theme park attractions. So that's kind of in a nutshell.
So most of us know you from Toy Story 2, to be honest, but you have
Right.
lots of work, such as like Bugs Life and Surf's Up, which was a really good hit back in 2007, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, which movie do you think could be your like quote unquote your magnum opus?
Oh no, I would say the most personal was Surf's Up. Um, yes, and I had the best time working on that one because we got to innovate in so many ways. You know, not only in the documentary style of the film, but in the way we used the camera and uh, recorded all the animation in a not by keyframe, but with motion capture, and recording the actors together and improvising. So there was a lot of fun innovation in a lot of areas, and and it. I was happy that we got to do a studio film where usually they want you to, you know, create it for like audiences who may have attention deficit and they want to sell toys, and there's usually other reasons they make these films, but we got to make kind of a personal film that had a kind of spirituality to it, which is what we found when we started doing research with the surf community. So that's probably my favorite, and that's how I'd look at it. I don't think I don't have any masterpieces or magnum opus quality films, but that was a lot of fun to make, and I think it does show. And it's really really nice to see that it found a home for generations like yourselves who got to discover it, outside of movie theaters.
Uh, like as far as I know, it was based on true story, right? Surf's Up.
Uh, not literally. We
Yeah.
said it, yeah, but I mean, it's based on a lot of personal stories, I think.
Huh.
Of based on there's this saying. I don't know if you have an equivalent. Um, in the in America, we say you should never meet your heroes
Oh yeah, yeah.
because if okay, and so that was kind of the idea. But it and yeah, actually there were some surf stories. There was a guy named Greg. Oh my gosh, it's been too long. I think his name was Greg Knoll, who surfed at the time the largest wave ever, and then he was so overwhelmed by the power of nature that he walked away from surfing forever. Um, and so we took that and put it into the Big Z story.
Oh yeah, the Z.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's
So, what is your game experience like? As we see you involved in Toy Story games, could you give
mhm.
us some detail as a game development club? You know.
Yeah. Well, you know way more about games than I do.
Yeah.
On the Toy Story game we made, this is how old it was. It was distributed on a CD-ROM. I don't even know if that means anything anymore. And it was very, very primitive um, software. I don't think we even had three-dimensional backgrounds. I think we were just doing the characters kind of on a sliding, a panning backdrop. But yeah, I really don't have any gaming experience other than I love to play Minecraft when my son was younger. It was all Minecraft all the time. And then Riot Games was, even though I wasn't working on the game, it was interesting to take an established multiplayer, what do you call it? Massive MMP?
MMO, I guess.
MMO, thank you. And create a world and characters out of that into a TV series.
So how do you see animation's future? Do you have any worries or excitement? As you might know, some of the studios might go into AI, etc.
Yeah, it can be scary, but I'm more optimistic, especially for people like you who, um, I would say you have a club, you must be passionate about what you do. And the really great thing about living in the world we live in now versus 20 years ago is that you have all sorts of ways to distribute your ideas, your games, your if you make films, you don't need uh, major studios, major publishers anymore. You just need uh, a sense of like an entrepreneurial spirit, a great idea, and a way to market it. But I really love to see how like people who creating YouTube animated films that are getting millions of hits every week. Um, and meanwhile, the big studios are like, they can't figure out how these films are getting such an audience, and
Yeah.
becoming popular, and for no money spent, really, right? They're just kind of become viral hits, and they're usually made with love, I think. And so that's my advice. Like, yeah, AI, all that stuff. It's here to stay. I think we're seeing the first version of it. I'm excited personally about it because I love using it as a sound, like almost an idea board. Um, it might, if I have it generate images, it might give me an idea that I would not have thought of, um, just brainstorming on my own.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are great questions, by the way. I hope I'm.
Some of them are from audience, some of them are from us. It's kind of mixed, but
Great.
Thank you very much. Most of the questions was prepared by me. I watched your interviews and uh, searched lots of things about you. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for making this fun and easy. How many uh, artists do you have or designers are in your club?
I mean, it's kind of hard to say, but like we have at least seven very skilled ones, but we have some like courses and other stuff. We
Mhm.
have a lot of normal type of animators, and we have like seven of the more professional ones, at least,
Oh, great.
as far as
Uh,
I know, at least. Yeah.
okay. And are you in college right now? A
Yeah,
university
this
or?
is the our university's club, by the way.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
so we're all college students. Uh, Anyways, back to the
Oh,
questions.
okay.
Uh, Considering censorship, cultural humor gaps, and budgets constraints, what percentage of the final film actually represents your original vision? Like,
Yeah.
does independent animation in the context truly mean creative freedom or just navigating a different set of corporate chains?
That's a very good question, and I think that there is no easy path. Um, that no matter what you do, you prepare for uh, challenges that seem impossible when you're on the journey. Um, but I would say, yeah, if there's nothing, I think if you're a real artist, there's nothing better than the feeling the freedom of having your own idea and executing your idea without anybody else ruining it, destroying it. At the same time, I've found that I really love, you know what, I've done solo writing and things on my own, but I found that I am, when I'm part of a group of collaborators, we end up with something of higher quality, um, that can have a vision that doesn't have to be sacrificed by a committee decision-making process. You know, if you have a lot of people making
Yeah.
decisions, sometimes you end up with nothing of interest. But I think you can have, I think there's a real advantage to having other people's money, like a studio. And if you know how to navigate the politics, make sure you're giving them what they need without sacrificing what you need. And that was the case with Surf's Up. We were able to make an entertaining movie, but not pander, or to undercut the beauty of of surfing and the way that the surf community feels about it, and the way that, you know, they feel like they really are in touch with nature in a spiritual way. We didn't have to sacrifice that. Um, but yeah, I would say even though it is tempting to say, oh, if I just have $1 million or $100,000, I can go make my own film, you'll find it's you should do it if you get a chance. Like, you should do everything. There's no door you should close upon yourself. Like, take every opportunity, but everything comes with challenges, and it won't be easier. You'll it'll I don't think I could do it again. I've done it, and it was hard, but I'm glad I did. Does this
It
make
ended
sense?
up
I
good.
can't tell.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it ended up good in the end. So like, but it's like a slippery slope. But we should try it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you know, even if you don't have a studio, if you have no other opportunity and you have a group of people who can work together and collaborate and create something as a group that they couldn't create alone, that's an opportunity worth taking and exploring, and you'll learn. Like, that's the great thing about taking action, because whether you fail or succeed, you're going to learn from the process. The worst thing you can do is wait to feel uh, like wait to do anything, or let indecision stop you from moving down the road. And I know this sounds very like elementary, but I'm still amazed how many people talk about a script they're going to write, or say, I don't have any good ideas today, so I'm not even going to sit and draw or write. I'm going to wait till I feel creative. To me, those are missed opportunities. You gotta sit down every day and draw or write, even if you don't feel like it, or code, you know?
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I agree with you. Some might not, but like, you can just wait for the like flash of brilliance to come for you, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. The,
Uh,
f- the, the great thing is, like, when I was your age, uh, I didn't feel as creative as I do now. I don't know if that makes sense, but something about having to go to a job every day and be creative on demand, mm, it becomes liberating. Uh, I really can't quite explain it. You'll feel this way when you're my age. I think you'll find, if you keep doing this every day, that creativity is it just keeps coming all the time. It doesn't stop because it's like exercise, I guess. You know, you don't atrophy. Your brain doesn't atrophy, and so that's one of the great things about getting old. One of the few great things. But enjoy your youth too. Boy, I miss it.
Well, we'll try our best at least.
Okay. All right, good.
Anyways, on to the next question. In all due respect, your career seems to have accelerated with Toy Story 2, one of the few sequels considered equal to the original today. The industry is dominated by franchises. As a writer, where do you draw the ethical and creative line when you forcing a narrative extension into a story that was already complete? Is there a point where expanding the universe, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Even when Pixar began to talk about a sequel, there was a tremendous negative reaction from everyone in the studio, because they felt that the studio was selling out, uh, and they had a right to feel that way. And the only and if when I was offered the job, I turned it down at first because I didn't want to do what you're talking about, which is make a movie just to make money. I felt that if we were going to go back and tell another story with the characters, we had to find a very emotional journey to take them on that we hadn't seen before. And when we hit upon what, that story and what happens with Woody, what happens with Jesse, then I was very much I was all in to make it at that point. But yeah, I hear you. I mean, what's sad now is I think we all are really bored and tired of these sequels that come out, and there is no heart behind them. They're clearly made just to make money, and they're made out of fear because the studios don't think audiences want original stories anymore. But uh, that's where we're at. But thankfully, every once in a while, an original story does come along and gets people excited again. So it's a matter of continuing to innovate and come up with your own stories that you can share with the world. And I hope you do. I hope you're doing that now and as you move more into professional careers. Because gaming is pretty darn exciting, like what you can do now. The world building, the adventuring, like especially these open, endless worlds that are being created now. Like I always thought storytelling in a game environment would be a lot of fun, but I never had a chance to do it.
Yeah, I mean, sky's the limit in the video games. Like there might be some like limitations on animating and other stuff, but like in gaming industry, where like really the sky is the limit.
Mhm.
Like the only thing that will keep you down is like your lack of creativity or anything else. Like you can do in everything.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
right. And even if you don't have like I'm excited to see some more simple 8-bit type games. They may not have uh the graphics of and the level of immersion of uh like a Halo or something, but they're so well designed that you can enjoy those as much as you can a really expensive game. So I completely agree with you. There's no limit um to what you can do, but I do I'll share a principle. I'm sure you hear it a lot, but it really is the guiding principle for my whole career, and that is that the worst thing you can have as a creator is no limitations. The best thing you can have is some parameters, something that limits you, whether it's money or time or any other kind of resource, or to that will force you to be more creative with the what you do have. And I found that to be extremely fun, not to have everything, and also kind of nice not to be staring at a blank page and trying to figure out, when you have unlimited possibilities, unlimited possibilities, it's hard to figure out where to start, isn't it? But anyway.
So during your time at Riot Games working on the early development of Arcane, you had to bridge the gap between game lore and cinematic storytelling. What was the biggest dramatic element you had to sacrifice to satisfy the game's mechanics or lore requirement?
That's good. Well, the advantage I had on that show was that I wasn't a player. I did not know the game very much at all. So when I came in to work with Christian Link and Alex Yee, who created the show, they were very deep into the lore and all the characters, and that was great. But I was able to consciously help them understand that if they wanted to create a series for the world, they should make sure they were telling a universal story that anybody could relate to, whether you played the game or not. And so the reason I signed on to that one pretty much from day one was that Christian had the right North Star. He had the guiding principle for the show, which was that he wasn't trying to mimic the game or gameplay. It wasn't a series of battles with armies or constant road trip movement through kind of as you kind of get in the game, League of Legends. He said very simply, I want this to be about a sisterhood that gets destroyed. And I'm like, oh, you are coming at it exactly in the right direction, and this is going to be a tremendously good story if we can make it work. And yeah, and so that was my experience. But I don't think we had to sacrifice anything to satisfy the game mechanics or out of respect for the gameplay. I think we were able to make both diehard gamers and people who'd never heard of League of Legends. We were able to give them a show that they could both enjoy. So that was the aim, and that was I think we were lucky to pull it off.
Yeah, I think it was really like in everyone's favor, to be honest. As a player myself and someone who loves animated movies or series, like it was just real good.
Oh, I'm glad to hear. Thank you. And is it Arif or Arif? How do you
Ari.
say your name? Ari. Oh, Ari. Sorry about that. Great. Thank you, Ari.
In animation, you convey weight visually. In games, that weight must be felt in players' hands through mechanics. Did the specific gameplay abilities of characters like wide punches dictate the animation style or visual language during the development of projects like Arcane?
Oh, that's a good question, but I never really thought of it that way. Yeah, I really just came in it purely as a storyteller, working with the the concept that Christian brought to the table. But I don't think I can really answer that question. I don't think I have a good answer for it.
Yeah, I mean that's like kind of if I get it right, you kind of just make the pieces into together, right? Like Christian gets the pieces and you just piece them all out. Okay.
Yeah.
You come from a strong story artist background, like CalArts, The Little Mermaid. Today, many studios skip 2D storyboarding and go straight to 3D previs layout. Do you believe 3D previs kills the comedic timing and exaggerated expressions that are easier to draw in 2D?
I'm so happy you asked the question. It's a very good one. I have an opinion. Um, I think it's a tragedy that animation schools are not teaching the most basic drawing skills and allowing students to start with something which as simple as a pencil and paper, because they are powerful tools. The reason they are is that the thing we uh, every time we work on a project of any kind, um, our aim is to, we know we're going to fail. We know if we write a script or put an animatic together, the first draft of it is going to be horrible. Like it's inevitable. Um, and so we have a saying, fail early and fail often, meaning make all your mistakes up front while it's cheap and it's fast to iterate and to, burn it down, start over. And as soon as you get into like touch a computer, you're already making your life more complicated without having proven whether your concept works. And so I think there's definitely a world for previs, and I've seen this time and again where producers think they can just jump ahead of storyboarding, go into a 3D world, and it sounds like a good idea when on the face of it, you would say, well, we're making a three-dimensional film, or why not go ahead and and build our ideas in the 3D world? But it requires a lot of people, a lot of time and money to build all that environment, and with no guarantee that anything you built will survive to the final product. So I can't emphasize enough. Learn to draw, even if you aren't a master illustrator. Learn to draw well enough that you can simply communicate visual ideas. I cannot tell you how powerful that skill can be and how rare it is. Unfortunately, it's pretty rare. Even with creative directors in the industry now, a lot of them can't even draw. They have to try to talk about their ideas, and then there's a lot of people around them trying to interpret what they heard. And I've always storyboarded on my own projects because uh, it helps me connect to the material, and helps people understand very quickly what I'm going for. So yeah, avoid previs until you're very, very sure your story's working or your project's working, and then you can refine. It's a great place to like stay with storyboards uh, and very simple two-dimensional visual design until you're sure you have a story worth telling. That's my advice.
I mean, about storytelling, storyboard, and etc. Uh, how do you like manage to make the balance of and some project being for all the audiences? Like in Toy Story, a parent or like a grown up will like not get bored when watching it. So like, how do you keep the balance between like some movie made for children and like their parents can watch it too?
Oh, great. Well, I'll tell you, the when I worked at Pixar, we never tried to figure out what we thought we never tried to make a movie what for someone else. We were respectful of audiences, we wanted to make sure we were clear with the story we were telling, but the only thing that how do I put this? At the end of the day, all we cared about was making a movie that we wanted to see. Just the small group of us. We all felt the same way that I wanted to see this movie. I wish there was a movie like this in the theaters, but there isn't. So let's make one that we want to go see. And that was all that. If we were happy or it made us laugh, that was enough for us. And I'll tell you, I think the reason it worked was we weren't children. You know, we all had when you're an animator or you work at Pixar, you're gonna have like that inner 10-year-old who never goes away. But we were also adults and we were parents and we knew a lot about the world at that point. So the reason the movies I think appealed to a lot of people was because we believed that the stories we were telling were universal. I heard a great quote which will help me maybe get back on track. Because I asked a question to a writer one time. I said, I'm doing these things, but they feel like nobody else would relate to them, and maybe they're very personal, and nobody will understand what I'm writing. And he said, it's kind of the opposite. He said, the way to the universe is through your own heart, meaning chances are, if it's deeply personal to you as a human being, it's going to resonate with other human beings. And you just got to trust in that truth. And I do believe it's true, that we all have even though we might come from a lot of cultures and so forth, there's something about storytelling that unites us all, and that uh, feeds feeds our soul in some deep way. And so, yeah, never be afraid to do what makes you happy and that satisfies you emotionally, because I think you're going to find it's going to be very resonant with others. But never, like, the worst thing you can do is try to chase what you think other people want. And that's the big mistake of studios. And I think that goes back to why they keep making sequels. But that's a terrific question. Thank you for asking that.
Looking back at your projects that didn't go as planned or faced development hell, what is one specific technical or managerial decision you made that you now realize was a mistake? Not a creative regret, but a pragmatic error in how you handled the production pipeline.
That's a great question. I have to think about that. I think my biggest mistake was on Surf's Up. And one of the jobs when you're directing for a studio is the people who are your bosses, the executives, often live every day in fear for their jobs. And the thing I learned that I learned this lesson on Surf's Up, because I made the mistake of not being empathetic to the executives in that way they felt. So, and I didn't communicate with them. I was trying to hide the project and I didn't want to show it to them. And looking back, that was a huge mistake. And what I should have done, and I do now, is I share it as much as I can. I want to reassure them that we're making progress and keep the door open and keep communication open. And yeah, because they lived in more, had more fear because we weren't showing them stuff. And then they might have a big reaction when they finally saw it, and maybe like a month had passed, and they would overreact to what they saw, and so it didn't have to be that difficult, if that makes any sense. Yeah, so that I would say, like, good communication of any kind is very important, and it's easy to think of executives sometimes in the, at least in film, like as the enemy, and you've got to combat them. But I've realized that we're all in it together. We have to get along, because we all have the same interest, which is to make something great and that we'll be really proud of for the rest of our lives. And they feel the same way too. They want to make something great. They just don't know how to do it, and you got to reassure them. So that's a great question. I really hadn't thought back on that until now.
You've been a part of a huge legacy projects and helped launch new worlds like Arcane. When you look at the young artists entering the industry today, what gives you the most hope for the future of this art form? What is the most beautiful change you see in the storytellers or tomorrow, or do you see anything going worse?
I'm mainly jealous of the talent I see around me, because I think you all have grown up with access to many more films than I was able to see when I was growing up. Even before, I'm old enough that, you know, there was no VCR, no home video, no streaming, of course. So to see a movie, you had to go to the movie theater. But not only that, you can watch films, you can learn from them, and you can watch all sorts of great channels, say on YouTube, where uh, there there are so many brilliant people devoting their time to making short films about cinematography or storytelling or writing, and there's podcasts about writing. Like Script Notes is a really amazing one, hosted by Craig Mazin, who wrote The Last of Us and developed it with Neil Druckmann. Is it Druckmann? From Naughty Dog, The Last of Us. It became an HBO series.
Yeah.
With Pedro Pascal. Okay. Yeah. So I see, if you're hungry to do this, you get an education a lot younger, like well before you start college. You're getting an education just by watching and doing and learning and having computers that allow you to create imagery and animation and cut them and edit the sound and make an entire movie with a Macintosh now. So that's all fantastic. I think the only thing that gets me down is I wish I tend to see people afraid to, or maybe not aware that they don't have to copy. And I don't know if it's because it's a new kind of, maybe it feels like everything has already been invented. I might as well just copy something. So I do wish I saw more original storytelling and more courageous visual design. And I do see it from time to time, but I also see a lot of people trying to draw like other people. And that's fine to a point. And then, you have something, like you're on Earth to do something that is distinctly you. And I hope everybody gives themselves that opportunity.
I think it's enough about like on technical questions. I kind of wanna talk about your past, if it's okay with you.
Yeah, sure.
So, what's made you go into the like animating enterprise?
Oh, well, I just grew up with Disney films, watching them in the theater. and like Jungle Book was probably the first one I saw. And to me, it was magic. Like when you're 4, you know, you can't believe that the characters are not real. And then as soon as I discovered the magic trick of that everything was drawn by hand, one frame at a time, I just started learning everything I could about it, and I found uh, a old movie camera, 8mm movie camera at home, and started buying film and making my own movies with my friends and drawing, like making claymation and doing all that kind of stuff all the way through high school, and without really any idea that I could get paid to do it at some point. And it was my dad who told me about CalArts, and I got a portfolio together and got accepted. And it was a great year to be going into animation because that was just a couple of years ahead of The Little Mermaid coming out, and then kind of a new golden age of animation, at least at Disney, and then obviously at DreamWorks and elsewhere. So that was kind of the basic history there. But more and more, it's I mean, I thought I would just be an animator my whole life, and it was on Toy Story that I began to realize that I could help out, that I enjoyed every part of the process, from the writing to the art direction to the lighting, and I decided I wanted to get into like expand beyond just animating. And I found that writing is tremendously rewarding, and directing, the thing I love about directing especially is you get a chance. You're never going to be the best at any of these things, but you get to hire the smartest people to help you make the movie, and you give them a chance to bring their vision to it as well, in their own way, whether it's through music or the art direction or uh, the voice acting, you know. So that's yeah, kind of where I'm at, and it hasn't changed even at Imagineering. It's the only real difference is we're not creating long form storytelling, but you know, if I'm working on a dark ride, which we call anything like uh, where you're in an interior environment and you build animatronic figures and uh, movie type, like theatrical sets, you're told
Yeah.
the really amazing thing is to create I'm not in front of a computer anymore. I'm in a real space creating a tangible world that the guests get to experience through time and space, and it's fascinating.
When you first started directing, what was the thing you struggled the most? Is there anything you wish you had done differently?
Oh yeah, let me see. Yeah, I wish I'd asked more questions. When I see this a lot in myself starting out and in a lot of young directors, the tendency to not want to look like an idiot. So I was afraid to ask questions. I was afraid of looking dumb, and I wish I had just said, you know, I don't know this. I'm going to find out. And I still do that, but now I do it without being um, embarrassed. I never doubt. I mean, I never regret saying I don't know something. Let me find out, or asking someone, and I'll do it publicly. I'll do it in front of an entire crew, um, and I think it's the way to do it. Like nobody expects me to have every answer. I think they'd rather uh, have somebody who is being authentic and truthful and isn't afraid to look dumb. So I think there are a lot of posers. You know that word, like
Yeah.
faking it through life. Yeah. So that's my advice in general. Is like you don't look dumb. You look smarter when you ask questions. The worst thing is to fake it.
Yeah, I personally struggle with it too, kinda.
Uh-huh.
So like, I might need to take a lesson or two, I guess. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. because people, that's the other thing. I found that when you ask people for help, they want to give it to you. It's not a burden. People like to feel useful and to have a purpose. And so, when you're working with other people or or a boss, yeah, don't be afraid. It's very liberating once you start asking questions and saying you don't know. And you learn a lot really quickly. So
Anyways, on to the last question, which is kind of a slippery slope, to be honest. So,
okay.
recently Netflix bought Warner Bros. What do you think about that?
It's not great. It's one less independent voice in the industry. We have, every studio head is a filter for whatever content they create. And as much as I like a lot of the work Netflix is doing, I think it is a shame to have one less, even if we're talking like massive companies. I think it's a shame that we have less choice and fewer um, yeah, I get fewer tastemakers is a bad word for it, but who are or creating products. You get a little more homogenized, I think, if it's just Ted Sarandos now and not somebody else deciding what he thinks the world should see. So I guess it's inevitable, although who knows, Paramount might still come through, but not likely, I guess now. But yeah, and who knows what'll happen next. I imagine this won't be the end of it. There will be even fewer studios in the future. But more opportunity, I think, for up and comers to um, disrupt, and I mean disrupt in a positive, like constructive way. To be, the way I think about it is these all these big studios are like cruise ships, and they're gigantic and powerful. But when they're moving in a direction, if they want to change course, it takes a lot of effort to do that. And there's a tremendous power in being a speedboat, right? A little tiny power boat that can be, quick on its feet, can pivot quickly if it needs to, doesn't take a ton of money, energy, and can be very, very creative. Again, looking at YouTube, looking at some of the incredible work that people are creating in their own homes and getting millions of people's eyes on it. Boy, that's pretty cool. And then studios can't figure it out, and I don't think they will. Like, look at Bluey. I don't know if you know this cartoon from Australia.
Yes.
Look at that. Like, it's just a father who wanted to make something he wanted to see with his kids, and there's many more stories like that are going to come out, and despite these big studios. So I'm not scared of the merger, but it's just unfortunate. That's all.
Yes. In a ways, do you might have some inspirational words for our club members, for people who want to become animators, directors, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, you're in a very fruitful period in the industry. Even if it doesn't seem like it, I as we've been talking about for the past hour, there are a lot of opportunities that you have, whether you know it or not, but don't expect them to be handed to you. There are a lot of opportunities you can create if you decide you want to. And like fear, if you can overcome your fear of failure or of not being good enough or uh, fear of X, fill in the blank. Fear to me has always been something that debilitates me and freezes me in my tracks. And if you can overcome fear of like like feeling your ideas aren't good enough, or you don't have a story worth telling, just try to put that fear aside and go for it anyway. And expect failure, embrace failure. I've out of 40 years, I've only made 3 films that I'm very proud of. That was 6 years of my career, maybe 7 or 8. And the rest of that time has been utter failure. And I'm not embarrassed to talk about it, but I've written many scripts. I've made many pitches that I never got made, that were that I pitched and nobody wanted to make them, and so that's okay. But I'm proud of the fact I got up every day and I tried. And that's my advice to everybody is like what the world will always need, just like plumbers and airline pilots. We need stories. We need stories to remind ourselves what life is about, and whether that's in the form of a game or a theme park attraction or a movie, they are still stories and they can be emotional. So that's my advice: is just go create and make the world more beautiful. You all have it inside you.
Thanks for your inspirational quotes. I'm sure like most of our viewers will like really enjoy it, or like the many people who didn't know you yet will probably be excited about it, to be honest. Like, we really appreciate you taking your time with us. Like, it's an honor to meet and having an interview with you personally. And I'm sure the others are excited about it too.
Oh, well, thank you. Likewise. I've really enjoyed this conversation, Ari and Khan. Thank you. And I get your names right? I hate to get names
It's
wrong.
Arif Khan. What's
Oh,
like?
it says Arif Khan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you very much. And stay in touch on LinkedIn.
Khan, do you have anything to say? Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much for joining our invitation. It was very inspiring for me, and probably it was very inspiring for our audience too.
I'm glad to hear. Thank you. And Happy New Year to you. Hope you have a great 2026.
You
Likewise.
too.
All right. Thank you. And goodbye.
Have a great day.